Today I'm going to show how to do the topic 8 additional problems, numbers 9 through 12. Numbers 11 and 12 are new problems. They're not on the original additional problems list. But let's start out with number 9. It says, write the equation of the slope-intercept form of the line and identify the slope and y-intercept of x minus 2y equals 0. Okay, so what we want to do is the slope-intercept form of a line is the y equals mx plus b form. So what we want to do is get this to look like this. So let's get rid of the x first. So we have minus 2y equals negative x. Now we're going to get rid of the minus 2 by dividing both sides by minus 2. And now we have y equals x over 2. Notice that it doesn't have a y-intercept, so it has a 0 y-intercept, and the slope is a half, which is the coefficient in front of the x. So our answer technically is here. The next question is to do the same thing with the line 5x plus 8y equals 24. Again, remember, we want to put this in the y equals mx plus b form. So we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. And I'm going to put the minus 5x first so that I can have it already starting to go into the mx plus b form. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 8, which is the same thing as multiplying by an eighth. And I get y equals negative 5/8 x plus 24/8, which is 3. Okay? So make sure we apply that to both terms. So here we see that our slope is minus 5/8, and our y-intercept is 3, or the ordered pair 0, 3. The next two problems are added to the topic 8 additional problems. They say, the instructions are find the perpendicular, slope of the following lines, and write the equation of the perpendicular line. I'm going to just write perp line going through the given point. Finally, graph both lines. Okay, so the first one we want to work with is 2x plus 6y equals 12. So if we want to find the perpendicular line, we first need to get the perpendicular slope. And in order to get the perpendicular slope, we need to find the slope of this line. So really, step 1 is find the slope. So how are we going to do that? We're going to put this into y equals mx plus b form so that we can read the slope straight out of this form. So in this equation of a line, I'm going to remove the 2x from the left side and move it to the right by subtracting it from both sides. So if I do that, I get 6y equals minus 2x plus 12. And then I want to get rid of the 6. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6. and I have y equals minus 26x plus 12 over 6, or 2. Now we have to always remember that if we have a fraction, we want to simplify it if we can. So this is minus 1/3 x plus 2. So now this is our y equals mx plus b, and we can get our slope directly off of here. So here's our slope. And our y-intercept is here. Okay. So now that we found the slope, the next thing we want to do is find the perpendicular slope. So the perpendicular slope, remember, is always equal to -1 over the original slope, the negative reciprocal. So let's see how that looks in this problem. The perpendicular slope is -1 over -1/3. Another way to remember that is it's just the negative reciprocal. We would just flip these. We just take the reciprocal and multiply it by a negative. So negative times a negative is a positive, and we end up with 3. Okay. That given point here, I'm going to add the point 2, 6. Okay. So now we have a perpendicular line, a perpendicular slope, and what we want to do is find the point that has this slope and goes through 2, 6. So here's our point, and here's our slope. So we're going to use the point-slope equation of a line. And remember, this comes from the formula for the slope, which is rise over run, except we drop the second point and we make it into a variable. So it's the rise part is equal to m, and multiplying both sides by the denominator of the slope gives us the x minus x1. So now we can put this in, and we get y minus, and if remember, it's always helpful to prevent transcription errors that we're clear on what goes where. So we have 3 times x minus 2. All right, let's go ahead and put this into y equals mx plus b form. So we can add 6 to both sides, and we can distribute the multiplication by 3 inside this parentheses, and altogether we can get y is equal to 3x minus 6 plus 6. So y equals 3x is the perpendicular line. So now let's graph both of these lines together. So let's get both lines here. So one line that we're going to graph is, if you recall, the first line, which was the y equals -1/3 x plus 2. And the second line, so let's call that y1, and we'll call this y2. Or maybe I should call it L1 so no one gets confused, and L2 is 3x. L1 and L2. So that's a little subscript on the y, so we can tell them apart. That's all. Okay, so let's go over here and try and make this sketch of these graphs. So the first line is going to go through 0, 2, and have a slope of -1/3. So that means we're going to come down 1, and we're going to go over to the right 3. Or we're going to, I'm focusing on this slope, which we know is equal to negative 1 over 3 or 1 over negative 3. So using the 1 over negative 3, we're going to go up to 3, and by going up 1 and then to the left 3. So up 1, and then to the left 3. And this was down 1 and to the right 3. Okay, so now we're going to put a perpendicular through this line. So the second line that we want to put on our graph is y equals 3x. And that one has a implied 0 intercept. So we're going to go through the 0, and now we're going to do a slope of 3. So we're going to go up 3. So here, let me make sure that's clear. This is a slope of 3 over 1, or minus 3 over minus 1. Okay, so we're going to go from 0 and we're going to go up 3. So up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Or down 3, 2, 3, and over 1. And now we're going to draw a line through here. Now, this line also needs to go through the point 2, 6. And it does. So we could have also graphed that point first. We went with the y-intercept. Either one will work. They both give us a point that we can work with. The next problem, number 12, is to do the same thing with the line minus 5x minus y equals 4, going through the point minus 3, 5. All right, so we want to find the line that's perpendicular to this line and goes through this point. So again, the first thing we need to do is, oh, up here I should have said that this was the second line. Sorry. But the first thing we want to do here is we want to put this into y equals mx plus b form. All right, so let's do that. So again, y equals mx plus b form so that we can get the slope. So we can get slope. So we add 5x to both sides. We get negative y equals 5x. And notice I want to put that first, plus 4 on the right. Now I'm going to multiply everything through by a negative 1 on both sides to get rid of this negative. So I get y equals, I'm going to make sure that I distribute that negative 1 to both terms. And I'm going to get negative 5x minus 4. So here I can see that my slope is minus 5x, minus 5, which is the same thing as minus 5 over 1 or 5 over negative 1. And we have a y-intercept, right? So the y-intercept is the point 0 minus 4. All right. So the second thing we're going to do is we're going to get the perpendicular slope. And the perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of our slope. So it's negative 1 over m. In this particular case, it's a little easier than last time because it's a whole number. So our slope is minus 5. So it's negative 1 over negative 5. The negatives cancel and we get 1/5. And the point we want to go through is negative 3, 5. So we want to go through the point negative 3, 5. Okay. So if we wanted to write the equation for this line, we would use that point slope equation of a line. Remember, this is x1, y1. And we'd say equals 1/5 x minus a -3, right? Don't forget, this is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so we have y. We're going to add 5 to both sides, and we're going to distribute the 1/5, multiply it by each one of these, except we're going to realize also that these two negatives cancel each other out. It's a positive. So we have 1/5 x and 3/5. And now we're going to add 5 to both sides. So this is going to be y equals 1/5 x plus 3/5. And now we need to make 5 have a denominator of fifths, so we just have to multiply it by 5 over 5. So it's 25/5. So now we have a line y equals 1/5 x plus 28/5. And that's our perpendicular line. So maybe I should call this L, maybe just a little perpendicular sign, I don't know. Or we called it L2 before. But now we have this line. Okay, now we have to graph both of these lines together. So we're going to graph line 1. And if you remember line 1, we got that up here. It's y equals -5x minus 4. And line 2 is y equals 1/5 x plus 28/5. Okay. So we want to go ahead and graph these. Okay, so let's graph the first one. We're going to go to the y-intercept 0, -4. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. And we're going to have a slope of -5. Remember, it's either up 5 and to the left 1 or down 5 and to the right 1. So let's go up 5. That'll bring us up to 1 and to the left 1. Or we could go down 5 more, so we would go down 5, which would bring us down to -9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's right here. -9. If we went down 5, right? So down 5, and we're going to go over just 1 to our point. So we're here, here, and here. And we can put a line, try to put a straight line. Maybe you have a ruler at home. And through that. Okay, now we're going to graph the second line. Now, one of the things I noticed is this is a kind of a nasty y-intercept, so I'd rather not deal with that. I'm going to deal with the slope being 1/5, so m equals 1/5, and I'm going to use the point. All I need is a point. I have 2 to choose from. I have this point or the y-intercept. I'm going to go with the -3,5. Okay, so I might as well go ahead and make this a little bigger. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the point -3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go up to 5. So it's -3. And we're going to go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -3,5. Okay, And now we're going to have a slope of 1/5. So that is 1 over, 1 up. So I'll use my little green arrow. Up 1 and then to the, and 5 over. So we're going to come over to 2. 1, 2. Minus 3, we're going to come over 5. So let me just move where I wrote this little 5. So it's not in the way. Okay, the other way we can do the slope of 1/5, remember, is minus 1, minus 5. So we can come down 1 from that point, and we can go over to the left 5. And we're going to end up at minus 8. It's minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8. And now we can connect these lines, if we did it with a ruler, it would be better. I might be able to figure out how to do something straight on here. But this is a right angle, and we are perpendicular. So that's how we graph the perpendicular line that goes through the point minus 3, 5.